In 2012, Citron released probably the most controversial Need for Speed game to date. Now, don't quote me on that, I'm not a massive fan of the franchise, but I know that fans were absolutely pissed. Not because the game was that bad. Honestly, looking at it, it aged pretty well. The graphics, the fucking music, the sound quality, everything about it is pretty neat. But using the name of a game that released in 2005 for your own fucking stupid marketing reasons was kinda scummy. And, it's not anything as good as the 2005 game, and therefore it was forgotten pretty quickly. Now, like I said, 2012 within itself isn't that bad of a game, and honestly doesn't deserve all the hate it gets. 2012 was my introduction into Need for Speed as a whole, and whilst I wouldn't say it was the best way to get into the series, it definitely wasn't the worst one, so I'm kinda glad about that at least. Now, I've seen 2012 be talked about quite a lot in recent memory, whether it be people revisiting the game or talking about some of its better elements and how it aged, just for, the Need for Speed everyone forgot. But this is not the game we're gonna be here to talk about today. Kind of. Technically. Let's talk about something else for a hot minute. In 2010 and all the way up until now, mobile games have changed. The landscape of mobile gaming is an entirely different one from the one I grew up with, and it is fucking insane. Phones nowadays are able to do much more than what they were back then, and it's honestly kind of amazing to see how far we've come, but let's take it back for a minute. In 2010, the mobile landscape was way different with specifically racing games. There were a bunch of different ones releasing every single day, whether it came from an indie developer who was just trying his hand at something, or hell, maybe it was a game from a full-fledged developer, another Asphalt or this or that. Tap racers or indie games that, indie developers were finally able to put out because people actually, had phones that could run that shit now. Everyone was trying to jump on the market and find the best way to make a mobile racing game. And this meant that there were a lot of different formulas to try, and big companies always trying to make their mark. Including EA, in 2005 or whatever, with Need for Speed Most Wanted Mobile. I can't find shit on this game. IGN gave it a review of 9 and says that it exists, but I can't find any real evidence of it anywhere else on the internet. It looks very similar to the PSP version of Most Wanted, which, if you don't know, is just kinda shitty and looks, exactly the same as this. It's really pixelated and low effort, and what else were they supposed to do? Anyway, this is not the game we're here to talk about today, but I thought it would be interesting because as I did research, I saw this game pop up instead of the game I'm talking about today. Which finally leads us to the game we're talking about the fucking day. When Citron released Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012, it was kind of a bum, and to try and jump on the fucking hype train, they released a mobile game, which is, currently published under EA on the Play Store. Yeah, this game is still actually there, can you believe it? No, this game isn't some remarkable AAA title that I can talk about, for ages. It more or less is just a mobile port of the 2012 game. But I decided to talk about it anyway because I haven't actually seen anything on this game over the internet and thought it would be cool. Also, I really needed to, release a video, and I thought this one would be easier because all the other ones are taking up my fucking time. By the way, stick to the end of the video so that I can apologize for that one. Anyway, let's get into the game, shall we? Now, on the Play Store, it says that this game was last updated in 2018, which I find kind of funny to think that this game was updated that recently, which, 6 years ago. It's not that recently, but I mean that recently for, the game. You fucking know what I mean. Now, I have no clue how big the community of this game was when it was still active, and I honestly don't know if people really like this game or not, because the reviews are, kind of fucking A-bomb. Trusting Play Store reviews is pretty fucking sketchy. But regardless, I'm pretty sure the mobile audiences were, more lenient on this game than what they were on the 2012 console game, for the simple reason that mobile gamers don't give a shit. If you were gonna port a Need for Speed mobile game, even from the 2005 game, they knew it wasn't gonna be exactly like the console version, so they weren't gonna get mad that easily. Which, that's kinda cool. Mobile audiences are just open to anything, including dog shit. Now, as for the game itself, it's pretty simple. It doesn't have a story or anything, which is very similar to, the console game. Instead, it just throws you into this world, and then you start doing races. Which, yeah, it's not an open world, what were you expect? It's one of those games where you just go vroom and you just have to go side to side, which is kind of cool because you can do it in a lot of different ways. This game had multiple different types of, steering, which apparently, according to the Play Store, was, demanded for, which I find kind of funny. I decided to use the one where you have the steering wheel on the left side of the screen and just, hold the right side of the screen to drift, so when I talk about this game feeling smooth about this or that, just know that's how I was playing it. Now this game, like I said, really doesn't have a lot to talk about, so we're just gonna go through every aspect starting with the races. The main meat and bones of this game are the races. You will have multiple races in multiple different areas, which are effectively the same map and the same race, but just inverted. Like, one race will have the car going this way, and then the other one will have the car going the other way, and it'll try and build its, own different version of variety when that doesn't actually exist. They're fucking lying to you. Now, a lot of these races will require you to use a specific type of car in a specific type of class, but a lot of the other ones will just let you go free willy and choose your car at fucking random. There are also, stuff in between these races, like you get these checkpoint races or speed races, which are similar to the challenges that could be found in the 2012 game. They're nothing to write home about and are pretty basic. Something I do find kind of interesting is that you now get these, like, hot ride thingamajigs. I think that's what they call them. Oh, fucking... If my voice sounds funny, by the way, just know it's because I woke up like 20 minutes ago and I'm talking very fast. Anyway, these hotspot races, whatever the fuck they are ways to, drive a new car without, buying the new car. It's pretty cool to see you actually, get to experience the car, and every single time you crash, you get, points deducted, which I think is kind of cool. I've said a lot of times. I really gotta stop doing. God, this video is gonna be a mess, isn't it? Anyway, these races aren't that hard. The AI are programmed to, I guess give you somewhat of a challenge, but it's not, that big a deal. Most of the game's difficulty will definitely come out of the car you choose, because all these races, like I said, have different classes, meaning if you choose a lower-ish end car, you're gonna struggle fighting against the top 3, which are like the top 3 bots, including you. And if you have a higher ranked car, then you're probably gonna fucking destroy them, so that's pretty neat. The AI drives on what seems to be a pretty basic path, but like I said, there's always a top 3. In these top 3, there will be 2 cars that are effectively just in the front, and then other cars which try to bump in every now and then, but they're pretty fucking useless. A lot of the times, if I was struggling with a race because of a lower end car, it was because I got stuck beneath these fucking bitches. They're not harder or anything, but I think they're just automatically programmed to be faster than you at specific times, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. Like I said, if you have a higher end car and you can just go, fucking flying by them, then it's not that big a deal, but, I don't know. Like I said, these races aren't really anything to write home about, and the cops don't make it any easier. The cops in this game, I do want to give some credit. They are fucking brutal for no real reason. I'd say the cops in the 2012 game are really tame compared to 2005. Like, the 2012 cops will still fucking go off the road, swing into fucking mom vans and try to crash you, into your fucking vagina. But they don't really do it as good as 2005. And I think that's the problem with 2012's cops, is just, they're too tame. But the game doesn't have that. Because you're going on a set path with, one car in one direction, it's really hard to evade the cops if you get fucked. And trust me, you will get fucked. For some reason with these cops, it's all or nothing, and most of the time it will be nothing. But then there's that, 2% of times where they'll just fucking launch you. I don't exactly know why the cops are programmed differently. Maybe they aren't. Maybe it's just harder because it's on mobile and the controls are shittier. I don't fucking know. But I had a hard time and a few funny laughs with these cops, so I think that's kinda cool. On the maps themselves, I guess it's pretty easy to avoid them. Like, a lot of these maps will have wide open roads that are made for you to fucking take shortcuts that don't make any sense. What the fuck is this? Why did they put the billboard there? What the fuck is wrong with you, Dave? No, really though, the maps are pretty basic. There aren't a lot of shortcuts and there isn't a big variety. Even if you're doing a different map, if it's in the same general area, it's gonna look the exact fucking same. Even if you take a map from above, the top section where it's industrially, and then go back down where it's supposed to be this downtown-y area. The only thing that really changes is the things on the side of the road. And that's it. As far as I can tell, most of these are taken from the actual map of 2012, which I guess is okay, nothing wrong with that, but 2012 didn't exactly have the best map. A lot of the assets are also, I think, taken over, just highly compressed, because they don't look nearly as good with the reflections or anything as, the 2012 game actually had graphics. It kinda deserves a point for that. Anyway, there's 2 more types of races that I didn't talk about, which is 1, the most wanted, and I fucking lied, there wasn't another type of race. I juked you. The Most Wanted races, as far as I can tell, are kind of their own thing. They give the Most Wanted a name, and then you just kind of race against the car, and then that's it. They're not particularly difficult. I think the cops might be a little harder on their levels, but that's, that's expected because it's only one other fucking car you're racing against. The cops kind of gotta pull their weight for it to be difficult. Though, because you're driving on the same basic bitch map, and because most of these races will allow you to choose your own car, it's not that big a deal as soon as you, get later in. Hell, even if you don't get later in, the Most Wanted just aren't that big of a challenge, which I find was a big problem with 2012 too. When I got 2012 as a kid, I think I beat it in maybe like 20 seconds, but ooh, it took me a while to beat fucking 2005. Fun story, actually. I guess I should say this now. Technically, 2012 wasn't my introduction for Need for Speed. Technically, 2005 was, because I played it on my brother's PlayStation 2. Now, my brother got really lucky and apparently, got a super neat car, and he was, like, literally right before the final Need for Speed, like, Most Wanted boss. And, I didn't know how to read. So instead of loading game when I played on his PlayStation 2 one day, I kinda deleted his save. Fucking hell, he was so mad. I think I should go to hell for this one. Sorry for getting off topic, I just really wanted to put that somewhere, and I thought this was the perfect place to put it. Anyway, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I guess the only real thing we have to talk about is, like, the cars. Which, yeah, that's the only type of variety you get in this game, through the cars. 2012 had a very big, wide array of cars to choose from, which I thought was pretty cool, as a youngster. They were scattered around the map, and you can only get certain cars by either finding them or, beating them in the Most Wanted, which, neat. In this game, I think you just slowly unlock them. I don't know, I haven't played it for that long, but I do know that there's one particular car that I really want to talk about, but I'm gonna hold off. Now, all these cars fall into different sections. You got your off-roaders, you got your, middle-class racers, you got your rather fast racers, and then you got your fucking hypercars, which, the hypercars are fucking insane. Driving them on any map will just effectively destroy the competition in less than 10 seconds. These cars have, some stats which don't make a big difference, like their top speed, their acceleration, and their drift, I think. The only real time any of this matters is how fast you can take a corner. But yet again, if you're using one of the higher end cars, that doesn't fucking matter, you're just gonna destroy the competition regardless. These cars also come with their fair share of customization, which I think is kinda cool. A lot of these cars will just have, white or black tints, which is kinda shitty, but others will have like a yellow and like, this cool pink, and the Bugatti will have its classic orange and black, and stuff like that. There's also one really cool one I want to talk about, but I'm gonna bite off because it's one of my fucking favorite things and probably the only reason I'm making this video. Now, the Play Store says that there's over 40 cars to choose from, which is, probably right, I don't know. I do think they added new cars as the game went on, showing that the community did at least give slightly a, did give us slightly shit. They gave slight shits. Like a raccoon level of shit. These cars that I think they added, who knows, maybe they were there from day one, are the Need for Speed Edition cars. These cars are either variants of other cars that are just, way cooler, or fucking legendary cars from the Need for Speed franchise, which, yet again, I'll talk about in a minute. There are also, these, like, weekly cars, which just chooses a car randomly from the library of the game and then has it as a weekly car. I guess, so it can be showcased or whatever. This might have been used in the game's heyday to show off different cars and get people hyped to want to drive them, but now, since the game's dead, it's just a little thingamajig in the middle of the map. It's really sad, honestly. Now, as far as the Need for Speed editions go, they're effectively just better versions of the other cars. The fastest hypercar in this game, I think, is actually the #1 car that you raced in 2012's game, which makes sense. It itself is a Need for Speed version of another car, which is, kind of fucking lit. Like, look at this thing. How would you not get fucking hyped for this? Though it's not the best car in this game. Okay, well, it is, but you're gonna see why it's not the best car in about 10 seconds. Yeah, they have the M3. This is my favorite car of all time, and genuinely one of the things that caught me most off guard when I was actually, going through the shit. You see, I really wanted to know what games this car appeared in so that I can emulate driving its sweet fucking salty goodness in something that wasn't a mobile game. And then I saw that it was in a fucking mobile game, which I didn't know existed, which led to me making this video. Now, apparently this car did make an appearance in 2012's DLC, but I wouldn't know anything about that because I never fucking played it, so, you know, woo. As far as this game go, I think it definitely does the car justice. Its sound design sounds pretty accurate, and its fucking decal is just unmistakably awesome. It even has this second decal, which is like fully black and had these like red lines on the edges. I don't know where this is from, or, you know, if this is some reference to something else. I just really like it. It's nothing, you know, it's nothing compared to the original, but I think it's cool. You know, like, at least it has a cool, unique second decal. It doesn't just have, you know, this one. As far as handling and stuff goes, this car is actually pretty fucking awesome. It's really fast and accelerates insanely quickly, and whilst it doesn't take corners as well or drift nearly as good, it still feels fucking amazing to drive, because look at that motherfucker. Speaking of, we should probably actually talk about the driving in this game. Now, the driving will depend on what car you're using, but for the most part, it's pretty simple. Like I said, I used the steering wheel option, you know, like the touch controls to play this game, and I think that was the right choice to make. Drifting feels smooth as shit in this game any single time I pulled it off, which is also a main reason why I kept playing it. It does take a minute to get, you know, used to how much you need to drift, considering, you know, it's weird-ass mobile controls, but once I did get used to it, it just felt fucking amazing. Now, the cars can also take damage, you know, both visibly and with this little bar that appears any single time you take damage. This is effectively just a way to, you know, get screwed. You see, because, like, when you get fucked by the cops, it's really hard for them to bust you because you're just always going forward. So this is like an alternative way to get a game over, which, you know, it's pretty hard to fucking do. I think I once destroyed a car intentionally. It's not that amazing. You get effectively that crash cutscene that you got in 2012, and then that's it. You lose. Bye-bye. There's also these little fucking attachments that you can put on before any race, which cost money to put on, which I think is kind of fucking greedy, but okay. Yeah, this game had in-app purchases that I mentioned that. Now, these attachments aren't that big of a help. They'll usually just be burst nitrous or, you know, fucking extra body protection, reinflating wheels, that kind of thing. It is kind of shitty that you can only put 2 of these on at a time and that you have to pay for them per race. I think that's kind of shitty. It would have been really cool to see, like, you know, every single car customized with reinflating tires or nitrous or stuff. And, you know, you have to do races for every single individual one like you did in 2012. Maybe that's too much to ask for when this game released. But I don't know, I still don't like the fact that you have to pay for these every single goddamn time. Now, other than that, there isn't really anything that's setting the racing apart, but it definitely does actually feel kind of fucking good, though. It's definitely helped by the sound design from the 2012 game, which is another reason people really liked it, including, you know, the music. Not all the music is here, but most of the main fucking bangers are, you know, like Weatherman. If you don't like that song, then what the fuck are you even doing? Why are you even watching this video, man? Why are you still, why are you watching this video? Anyway, the song's, you know, music and shit can be adjusted because it's way too fucking soft in this game, but other than that, yeah, that's about it. I could rant on and on and on about, you know, the little things in this game, but I don't really think that would help anyone. I don't know if this game had multiplayer at some point. I don't think it did, and I don't know anything about the community because no one ever talks about this game. Hell, even if you want to play this game now, it's kind of hard to do since it's not only locked behind a paywall, but also, you know, your phone probably can't play it to begin with. I mean, there's always other methods, but I don't think those are cool methods. As far as the actual game goes, I mean, it's alright, I guess. For a mobile game, it definitely wasn't, like, ahead of its time or whatever, but it is definitely a mobile game that no one ever fucking talks about. Plus, it has the M3 GTI, so I mean, you know, obviously I was gonna talk about it. If you have an olderish phone and you just really want an excuse to drive this car again, and you also have money, then I guess you can go buy this game. Or, you know, or you couldn't. I don't condone of those methods, though. I think EA wants to forget about this game, you know, being under its name, and it wants to move on. Looking at the current state of Need for Speed, it's not, you know, doing too well. Like, I wouldn't say it's a dead franchise, but it's definitely, you know, kind of forgotten. Like, I don't remember the last time I saw anyone talk about a new Need for Speed game with any good qualities. Though we will always remember Most Wanted, and also the chattiest Chad car of all fucking time. And I think this mobile game, whilst encapsulating everything that made 2012 at least slightly interesting, also encapsulate why 2012 failed. It's basic. I couldn't make this video longer than 30 minutes if I tried, which is kind of fucking... like, how? By the way, if you want to see an actually good video on Need for Speed and, you know, are kind of deplored at how shitty I made this one, you can go watch Noodle's content. He's an amazing creator, animator, fucking everything, and he talks about games a lot. He's talked about Halo, and even done an entire retrospective on the history of Need for Speed, so go watch that. Now, he's a cool YouTuber, and I like him, and yeah, I might do YouTube shoutouts every single episode, even though, you know, I'm the one who needs the shoutouts. Anyway, sorry for being gone for so long, and, you know, still not have gotten a fucking good mic. Not have gotten, wow, I really did learn how to speak in my hiatus. It's not like I didn't try to make videos. I technically made an entire movie review, which I'm now keeping as a backup for if I ever can't upload a video again, which I think is kind of shitty. I just don't know what I'm saying, and a lot of the video is just, you know, repeating on itself, and it's very amateurly done, and I didn't think it was cool. And then there's other videos also that I really wanted to make, but they're taking so much longer than I thought they would and turning into full-fledged projects, which I did not intend. Though at the rate I'm going now, I should be able to release another video pretty soon, you know, one about something that I love quite a lot. And yeah, sorry for the, you know, fucking, what, 2 months, 3 months now that I haven't released a video on. I swear that won't happen again. I can't swear that, I can't promise that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I don't plan on just making horror content. I'm just gonna talk about whatever the fuck I want. I feel like a lot of YouTubers, especially when they, you know, build a fan base, are afraid to spread out and make new videos. I'm not gonna do that because I really just want to make videos. I just want to talk about whatever, whether it be movies, games, or anything. Anyway, I swear I'm gonna make better videos soon, you know, ones that are actually good and don't sound like I'm just pulling shit out of my ass. This is a first attempt at a game review that I genuinely just didn't give that much of a shit about, so there wasn't that much passion or time sunk into it. It was just something I kind of did so that I can actually get a video out to you guys, you know, to give a shit. Which, I mean, there's like at least 2 of you. Which, I mean, that's cool. Don't get me wrong. Thank you, by the way, for the fucking reception on the last video. I don't even know how to start saying thank you for that one. That's insane, dude. I wasn't even expecting that video to get like 50 views, and then you all gave it 800 views, and that's fucking insane. By the way, sorry for my weird voice. I am semi-sick, not really. It's more just that I screamed and now my voice sounds funny. I just decided to make this video now. What a perfect timing, am I right? Anyway, more horror content coming soon, more weeb content coming soon, and, you know, hopefully better content coming soon. Please leave a like, unsubscribe from my channel, and then fucking report this video for making your kids cry or something, I don't know. See, why are you still here?